Released in 2008, Valkyria Chronicles puts a new slant on the tactical RPG genre. Is it fighting fit in 2025, or should it wave the white flag? Let's find out, shall we? Valkyria Chronicles is set in a fictional war-torn version of 1930s Europe called Europa. The continent is split between two major powers, the East European Imperial Alliance, or the Empire, a militaristic superpower, and the Atlantic Federation, a democratic alliance of Western nations. At the heart of this conflict is Ragnite, a valuable resource used for medicine, energy and weapons. The story follows Welkin Gunther, a nature-loving young man from the country of Gallia, and his childhood friend Alicia Melchiot, who become key members of Squad 7 of the Gallian militia. The small neutral nation of Gallia is caught between the two superpowers and is invaded by the Empire for its Ragnite-rich land. Welkin, son of a famed Gallian war hero, is thrust into command and leads Squad 7 through the Imperial invasion. Along the way, they face powerful foes, including a mysterious and deadly Imperial soldier named Selvaria Bless, a member of the ancient mythic warrior race known as Valkyria, beings with immense destructive power. The game does a pretty good job at showing how war can affect ordinary people and motivate them to defend their country and way of life, even when confronted with overwhelming odds. I wasn't expecting the story to be so impactful. It shows the desperation and pure sadness war can bring even in victory. It has its moments where it falls back to some typical anime tropes, but on the whole I enjoyed the story and characters a lot.
Die! Dark son pig!
At the heart of Valkyria Chronicles' visual style is the canvas engine. Developed specifically for the game, it gives the graphics a unique hand-drawn watercolor look that makes it feel like a living painting. There are also exaggerated pencil strokes across the visuals, making it look like a sketch. Even during battles, the game preserves its artistic flair. When entering aiming mode, the camera zooms in with a cinematic over-the-shoulder shot, blending action with the hand-drawn look. Muzzle flashes, smoke and explosions all retain that painterly style, never fully aiming for gritty realism. Sound effects like boom or rat-tat-tat sometimes appear on screen as text, leaning into the game's comic book feel. The game world feels cohesive and grounded despite the stylisation. Towns, grassy fields, deserts and ruins are all depicted with enough detail to feel real, but they maintain the soft edge brushstroke style that keeps the art from becoming too dark or grim. Lighting and shadows are carefully crafted to suit the hand-painted look. Nothing is too harsh or hyper-realistic. It's a striking bit of visual design and looks as fresh now in 2025 as it did on release some 17 years ago. Character models and facial expressions are very anime styled, with expressive features and stylised proportions. Characters feature large emotive eyes with simple facial animations during cutscenes that emphasise emotion over realism. The design of the military uniforms has been done really well. The Gallian militia look especially dapper. I also like the design of the hardware and weaponry. Tanks look chunky and have some neat detailing on them. Guns look familiar but with a dash of their own style. You can see the heavy inspiration from World War II here. Animations are pretty good. Your units run around with a decent bit of fluidity, and firing your weapon looks impactful as the kickback hits. However, death animations are a little overcooked, with dispatched enemies ragdolling all over the place when dying. Not exactly realistic, but entertaining nonetheless. Performance was generally good. I didn't encounter any noticeable pop-in, and draw distances on the compact levels was never an issue. I did encounter an odd problem where my characters all started moving at 50% speed. After a bit of a dig online, it turned out to be a settings issue, and after correction, performance returned to being solid. Overall, the game felt pretty smooth to play. The graphics are a unique mix of art styles that have aged remarkably well. It feels like you're playing through the lens of a history-based colouring book. I grew up watching cartoons on TV that were hand-drawn, and Valkyria Chronicles dragged me right back to those fond memories. But despite twanging my nostalgia nerve, the visual design is clever, timeless and a joy to look at. Graphics score 23 out of 25.
Now, dear Gallians, flee or be crushed underfoot of the Batamus.
Valkyria Chronicles blends turn-based strategy, real-time movement and third-person shooting. Your missions are presented to you in the form of a book. On each page you'll have a cutscene or three which progresses the story, culminating in a combat mission. These missions are played out across a variety of levels. You could be fighting in a small urban setting one time and a sprawling desert the next. There is some good variety in where the game takes you, although the levels are mainly set dressing. There isn't a whole heap of interacting with your environment past using bits of it for cover or alternate routes. Once you've deployed into a level, gameplay is divided into two main phases. Command mode, where you view the battlefield from above with each unit being represented by an icon. You spend CP or command points to issue orders and activate units. Once you've chosen a unit to control, you enter into action mode, gaining real-time control. The camera shifts to a third-person view and you manually move the unit within a set range depending on the character's AP or action points bar. These units come in a variety of flavours. Near the start of the game you'll fill your Squad 7 regiment with 20 characters of varying classes. Scouts are your general foot troops. They do moderate damage and are a bit fragile but have a decent amount of AP. Shock troopers are your damage doers. They have poor range and not much AP, but the amount of damage their SMGs do make them lethal at close quarters. Lancers are your human wrecking balls. They carry high-powered bazooka lances that can deal huge damage to enemy tanks. Engineers can fix damage to your tank and can also supply ammo to units that have limited supply. And finally, snipers. Their high-powered rifles are deadly at range, but keep these guys out of harm's way as they die easier than hamsters. Each unit has their own personality and can possess a number of statuses, or potentials as they're known in the game. Some give positive effects and some negative. For example, Undodgeable Shot offers a guaranteed hit, while Panic Attack reduces accuracy when surrounded. They also have their preferences to who they like working with. A harmonious squad is an effective squad. Teaming characters up with their buddies can pay dividends in battle. Your units also come with differing amounts of action points. Getting your chosen unit to their destination and not leaving them exposed to enemy fire is vital. Tuck them just out of harm's way and they could be a decisive part of your future victory. Get it wrong and you could find yourself a sitting duck. Once you have a unit in position, attacking is done manually. There is an element of RNG here depending on your range, accuracy and what statuses you have on you at the time, and you better hope your troops shoot true, as enemies are no slouches. They will punish you for getting caught out of position. The difficulty level isn't exactly brutal, but it can spike on certain missions. In fact, this is one of my gripes with the game. Rather than a smooth upward curve in the difficulty, you can hit a wall at times. It's not insurmountable, but can be frustrating when it hits. If you are finding the going a bit heavy, you do have the option of level grinding in the form of playing through the skirmishes that open up as you progress. These standalone scenarios let you practice tactics and earn money and XP while doing so. You can then spend your hard-earned cash and experience upgrading your squad and their equipment. That's where your HQ comes into play. Your units can be levelled up by taking them into training. This is just a case of allocating gained XP into a certain class. You don't have to level up each individual scout, for example. You just have to level up their class and all of your scouts become that level. You can also upgrade equipment and the Edelweiss tank by spending the money you earn in battle at the R&D facility. More options to upgrade open up as you progress the story. Your headquarters being just a menu screen does rather give the age of the game away. Nowadays HQ would be a hub area where you visit the available NPCs to do your levelling and upgrading, but I kind of like the simplicity here. Sometimes less is more. I like the convenience of just jumping into a menu to train some units or upgrade a weapon. It placed the focus of the game back on the tactical combat, which is where it should be. The gameplay loop on offer here is an addictive one. I really enjoyed the fact that you can go out onto a mission, get absolutely slaughtered, but by simply changing your units and approach you could totally turn things around. It's not about getting as powerful as possible, it's about using your smarts, learning your unit's strengths and weaknesses and applying that knowledge. Of course, this is not a gameplay loop exclusive to Valkyria Chronicles. It's common to pretty much all tactical roleplay games, but the implementation here is carried out so well it's hard not to have fun with it. Gameplay scores 23 out of 25.
It's not like there'll be much help.
More help perhaps than your army unit that couldn't hold the bridge in the first place.
Hey!
The soundtrack in Valkyria Chronicles is excellent. Hitoshi Sakimoto's work usually hits the mark, and his work here is no exception. The music blends orchestral grandeur with emotional nuance, perfect for a game about war, resistance and humanity. You are bombarded with big symphonic tunes which tap into the desperation of the overwhelming odds you often find yourself facing, while melancholic piano and strings emphasise personal loss and contemplation. It's a brilliantly constructed bit of sound design and deserves every bit of praise it gets. Sound effects complement the game well. The shots from your weapons sound authentic against the backdrop of muffled, distant fighting, and a crackle of voices advising you from HQ all add to the war theatre setting really well. The weakest link in the whole sound package is the voice acting. The main characters of Welkin and Alicia are okay, but many of the supporting characters are very hammy, and some are just shrill and annoying. Overall, I find the voice acting tolerable rather than good. The music does a lot of the heavy lifting in the audio package, while the rest of the sound in the game ranges from good to acceptable, and scores 22 out of 25.
What's her problem? She pregnant or just fat?
Who cares? Not gonna make any difference when she's dead.
Valkyria Chronicles is a fairly chunky game. The end comes somewhere between the 30 to 40 hour mark if you're somewhat familiar with tactical RPGs, and probably closer to 50 if you're not. There is a new game plus mode that lets you play through the game again with just about everything you gained in your first playthrough carried over. As you progress through the game, more skirmishes open up, and getting the A rank in all of them will take some time and practice. If you purchase the remastered version, you also get all the DLCs, Edie's mission, Selveria's behind the scenes campaign, and challenges of the Edie detachment, which comes with bonus battles. This can tag on another few hours. If you like to get your money's worth, there is a stack of content here. The base game alone presents some good value, but add in the good amount of replayability and you could possibly have your hands full for ages. Value scores 23 out of 25.
Gallia's mongrels have reclaimed Vassal Bridge. Are the men of our defensive units cowards? This loss is a stain on the Emperor's honor. Useless fools.
Valkyria Chronicles is an engaging mixture of strategy, real-time combat and role-playing. It has a striking art style that, despite its colourful appearance, manages to convey the harshities visited on everyday people when war hits. It's not without its quirks. The difficulty can be spiky, upsetting the game's balance, and some of the typical anime tropes on display rub the wrong way against the game's wartime setting. But taken as a whole, this is a strong bundle. The gameplay is addicting, thought-provoking and enjoyable, and scores 91 out of 100.